Is it okay that my boyfriend insists on me washing myself before any sexy time? My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months, but we've broken up 4 times. Altogether, we've probably only spent about 3 months together. He pursued me really hard. We met at work, and the first day we met, he asked me out. I kept saying no because I really don't want to focus on guys right now. I have a really good career in fashion, so dating was not in my plans. Kept on insisting and doing very nice things for me, like he would bring me my favorite coffee or bring me my favorite foods. I finally said yes when he brought me a basket full of my favorite snacks from Whole Foods. He told me that he basically went around asking everyone what they saw me eating, and then he went to Whole Foods and bought everything and made a basket for me. I was really flattered, so when he asked me out again, I said yes. I thought maybe he'd be a really kind and just considerate guy, but things are not like that. We went on a total of 5 dates before anything happened. When it finally came time to doing it, we were at my apartment and he insisted that I go take a shower. When I asked him why, he said he prefers for everything to be clean. Obviously, I got offended and said, I am clean. He then rolled his eyes and said, okay, never mind. And then we did it. Part 2 is up. Is it okay that my boyfriend insists that I wash myself before any sexy time? When he told me he wanted me to be clean, I said I am clean, so we proceeded to do it. Everything was pretty normal after that. He was really affectionate and kept complimenting me. A few days later, it was going to be our second time, but before anything starts to happen, he once again asked me to go take a shower. I asked him if I smelled bad or something, and he said no, I just think that you should take a shower. I decided to keep my cool and I went and took a shower, but the routine stuck. Every single time we were going to do anything, he would ask me to go take a shower. Now I wonder what you might be thinking. No, I do not smell bad. I usually take 2 showers a day anyway. One in the morning after working out, and then one at night before getting into bed. So I know I don't smell bad. But now it's a total inconvenience. Every time we want to do it, he asks me to go take a shower. Even if I'm dressed, even if I have makeup on. So I started avoiding it at all costs. Anytime he would ask me to do it, I would just say no. Because of this, we actually broke up for 2 months. When we got back together, it was the same exact thing. Once again, I was taking a shower every single time. Part 3 is up. Is it okay that my boyfriend insists on me washing myself before any sexy time? I actually even began associating sexy time with being dirty. Because he would insist so much, I would actually start to feel shame. I knew that I was clean and I washed myself multiple times a day, even when I knew I wasn't going to see him. I decided to reach out to an ex-girlfriend of his on Instagram, and I asked her if she had the same problem with him. And she proceeded to send me paragraphs and paragraphs of all the things that he made her do. Not only would he make her shower before sexy time, but he would make her brush her teeth before kissing and fully removing her makeup too. I told her that my theory was that he must have had a bad experience with some other girl. Then she told me her theory, that he likes being in control, and that the only reason he asked us to do all these things was so that he could feel in control. By the way, her and I are now friends, so here's what I did. The next time I saw my boyfriend, I asked him to take a shower. And guess what? He got totally offended. I pulled him up on the fact that he makes me shower every single time, and he said that I should be happy to do whatever it takes to make him happy. Now I refuse to take a shower whenever he wants me to. And because of that, he's always in a bad mood. He even told my best friend that I wasn't a considerate girlfriend. How dare he complain to her? Now here's the thing, I'm very attracted to him and I feel like I'm falling in love with him, but this is the only thing that's holding me back. He even mentioned moving in together. What should I do? Story time about how I've been in love with my best friend for 6 years. This is not my story time, it's sending me an Instagram. Let's call my best friend Rick. Rick and I have known each other since we were 3 years old. We're actually neighbors and we went to the same school, grew up at the same time, and we did everything together as kids. Most people thought we were siblings. His mom became my mom's best friend, and our parents would go to dinner almost every single week. Growing up, we treated each other like siblings. He always watched out for me and had my back when we were in school. But things started to change when we got into high school. Rick started dating a lot of the girls in school. Suddenly, I started to get really jealous. Instead of spending time with me, he would start spending time with his new girlfriends, duh. But we would always go to school together, and instead, he started dropping off and picking up his own girlfriend. So I didn't have a ride to school anymore. Instead, my dad would take me to school. We would always hang out after class and on the weekends. So you can understand this was a huge change for me. At first, I thought I was just jealous because I was losing my best friend. But when I told my mom, she asked me if I was in love with him. At first, I was like, no freaking way. But then I became even more jealous. I was always angry with him for hanging out with his girlfriends. I started missing him so much, and I couldn't stop thinking about him. I was constantly checking if he was home or not. I would simply look out the window and see that his car wasn't there. I played it off as much as I could when I would see him. We all happened to go to a party and his girlfriend was there with him. Out of nowhere, she taps me on the shoulder and asks me if I'm in love with Rick. I didn't know what to say. Part 2 is up. Part 2 of how I've been in love with my best friend for 6 years. This is not my story time, is sending me an Instagram. At the party, his girlfriend asked me if I'm in love with him. I actually froze and didn't say anything. Then she got right up in my face and asked me again. I answered no and basically ran away from the party. When I got home, I got a text from Rick asking me if I was okay. I told him I was just tired and I wasn't having fun at the party. Then he sends me a screenshot of messages his girlfriend sent him. In the messages, she told him that she thought I was in love with him and that she could tell just by the way that I looked at him. He told her there was no way and that I was just a sister to him. He actually thought it was hilarious that she would think that. God, if only he knew that it was true. He then told me that he needed to stay away from me just to not make her jealous. This hurt me so much. He was choosing her over me. She actually ended up cheating on him and they broke up. A few years passed by and during that time I dated other people, but I couldn't stop thinking about Rick. Guess what I did? I moved 2 cities away just to avoid him. Part 3 is up. Part 3 of how I've been in love with my best friend for 6 years. After I moved away just to try to forget him, it did not work. I just couldn't stop thinking about him. After a year, I moved back to my hometown. I decided I would be honest with Rick and tell him how I really feel about him. Well, it's been a year since I moved home and I still haven't told him anything. Girls fall over themselves just to try to date him. And everyone he's ever dated literally looks like a model. And I know that I can't compete with that. Now, I know I'm not ugly or anything, but I'm definitely not the model type. I decided to open up to Rick's mom and I told her how I felt. She's actually really happy that I told her the truth. And she told me that she always suspected it. She also told me she would love Rick and I to date. I told her that I just didn't have the courage to tell him how I really felt. I mean, imagine you going up to your crush and telling them that you like them. It's so hard. She also told me Rick wants to get married soon and finally settle down. Apparently, he's sick of dating around. So basically, he's looking for a wife. I don't want to sit on the sidelines and watch him with somebody else the rest of my life. I just can't muster up the courage to tell him. Rick and I had dinner a few nights ago and he told me that he actually likes someone from his job. I almost started crying right then and there in front of him. I'm hoping he doesn't ask her out. I want to find a way to tell him without me dying of embarrassment. If you have any ideas, please let me know. Or maybe I just shouldn't tell him at all. Maybe I can find someone else. What do you think? Am I the asshole for sabotaging my brother's wedding? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. My brother and his fiance, they've been together for 4 years and engaged for 6 months. I hate her. I hate her so much. She is the most entitled woman I've ever met and she thinks that she deserves everything. Her parents are super rich. Now my family isn't poor, but we're definitely not as rich as her. She demands that my brother pay for everything. Like all of their rent, all of their car payments, every single thing. My brother doesn't make a lot of money and this stresses him out a lot. Her dad offered to give my brother money so that he could basically pay for everything while she thinks that my brother actually paid for it. Even her parents know how terrible she is. She's also extremely jealous. She barely lets my brother do anything, and he's basically shut out all of his friends just to not make her angry if he wants to go out with them. This is the worst part. I walked in on her and her friends talking crap about my brother. They were all a little bit tipsy, so she wasn't measuring what she was saying. Even when I came into the room, she still kept talking trash about him. Being the good sister that I am, I grabbed her drink and threw it in her face. Now my brother's not really talking to me. Part 2 is up. Part 2, am I the asshole for sabotaging my brother's wedding? After I threw the drink in her face, my brother stopped talking to me. He finally heard me out and I told him everything I thought about her. And when I told him that she was talking trash behind his back, he told me that she does that all the time with her friends and that it's just a way for her to vent. I explained to him that she should have nothing but good things to say about him. She doesn't sound like she loves him when she talks about him. By the way, she was telling her friends that my brother is basically a good for nothing and that he didn't earn enough money for her to actually live a good life with him. Because of this, I started sabotaging the wedding in small little ways. For example, I know exactly what dress she wanted, so I called the store and ordered all of them. They're currently out of stock. She went berserk. My brother had to calm her down for like an hour. When I finally apologized for throwing the drink in her face, she asked me to help with the wedding. So she gave me the job of sending invitations. So I decided not to send any to her family. When she asked me about it, I told her I sent all the invitations, that they probably got lost in the mail. We all went out to dinner that night with her family and mine. She threw a whole tantrum at the restaurant. She was demanding attention. And of course, everyone was comforting her. She's a total bridezilla. Even her best friend told me that she can't stand her anymore. She also told me I couldn't invite any of my friends because we're all too artsy. Now I need your help to come up with more sabotages, because it's actually working. My brother is finally getting sick of her. He told my parents he's not sure he wants to marry her anymore. My hope is that they break up soon. I just want my brother to be happy. What do you think I should do?